Okay, now that we have completed the create operation, we can move on to the update operation. This is similar to create, but there's a small tiny variations. So in order to update a entry in the table, what we need to do is we need to pass the ID or the primary key of this entry to the form, so that we can retrieve this data from the table and show it to the user in the form. So first, that's what we're going to do to these buttons. So if you go to the index.php file, and this is the button group. So it's a button right now. So I'm going to change this button to anchor tags, because we need to redirect to the update page. Okay, and remove this and give a href. Update.php. Okay, now if we come back and click on this button, refresh and click on this button, we are redirected to the update.php page. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this create.php and paste it in the update.php file. Okay, now if we come back, refresh and hit edit, okay, we can see this form, and I'm going to go back to the task. So first thing that we need to do is we need to fill the title and description with the entry, okay, with data. So if I click on this edit button, then the title should be new task testing alert, and description should have this content. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to pass the ID of that entry to this update form. So let's see how we can do that. To pass the ID, only thing that we have to do is question mark equal to ID question mark. Okay. Question mark ID equal to, and open a PHP tag, and we need to echo the ID of this entry. Okay, now if we refresh and if we edit the button, we can see the ID of that entry here. So what we need to do is we need to get this ID, fetch the data from the table and show it to this, show it in this form. So for that we can come to the update.php file and scroll up. Okay, here what we need to do is we need to check if the ID is passed correctly. So for that, we need to open an if condition and check get not is set. If it is not set, or if the ID is empty, so I'm going to copy this and change this to empty. In this case, what we need to do is we need to redirect back to the index page with an error message. So session of error, okay, this will be enough, and we're going to pass this message for task ID is required to edit, and we're going to redirect back to the index page. For that, we're going to open the header function, okay, and in double quotes location index.php, okay, and lastly we're going to call the exit function. Okay, so now if I come back over here and get rid of this 3, get rid of this 3 and redirected back to this for index page and with the error message that we give. Okay, so another thing that we need to make sure is if I give any random text like this, it should not stay here, it should redirect back with another error message like invalid task ID. So let's handle that condition also. So for that, what we need to do is come here and if so if it's not a number, what we need to do is we need to set an error message and redirect back to the index page. So the error message will be invalid task ID. Okay, now if we come back and refresh, yeah, we are correctly redirected back to the index page. Okay, so that's it. Now what we need to do is we need to show the data in this input fields. So for that we need to fetch the data from the database and show it to the user. Okay, so for that I'm going to open a try block and go to the index page and copy this line. Okay, come back over here and paste it over here. Okay, we need to make some small changes. Okay, the query will be select star from task. We don't need this order by where ID will be equal to the ID that we store over here, this ID. Okay, now what we need is to get the result, and if the result is not, result came false, we're going to throw this exception, and we don't need this while loop because we are only getting like one row from the table. So instead of this while loop, what we can do is store it, remove it and store it. Okay, we need to change this to task because it's only one, right? So store this result in this array, result fetch a soak. Okay, this fetch a soak function will convert the row in the database to a associative array and store it to the task variable. And we need to make sure, we need to check for an error if this SQL if this ID does not exist in the table. We need to handle that condition as well. So for that, what we can do is we can copy this line, okay, and come over here and okay, now we can change this condition. Now the result of num rows, this will return the number of rows from the table that from the table which matches this ID. So if it is equal to 0, then we need to return an error message called task not found. Okay, now we can test this. If we hit refresh, nothing will happen, and if I give a big number like 100, okay, we redirect back to the index page with the task not found error. Okay, now what we can do is we can show the data to the data in this field. Okay, so for that we need to copy this task, and in this input field I'm going to open a new attribute called value equal to echo and task title. So if I come back and hit refresh, you can see the title in this page, and you can copy this and put it inside the text area. Okay, we don't need the value attribute in text area, so just copy this PHP line and paste it over here. Come back and hit refresh, you can see this. Okay, now we can make a few changes to the form. Instead of create task, it will be update task, and on the top over here we have update task, and I'll change this to update task. Okay, now when the user clicks on this button, we need to make sure that the task is updated. So we need to change this query a bit. So instead of inserting, we need to update, and inside double quotes update tasks set title equal to this one, and description equal to this one. Okay, and lastly where id equal to id, like this id. Okay, now this condition, but if the condition is true, okay, instead of task created successfully, we can change it to updated successfully. Okay, and that's it. So we can test this code. Now if we refresh, okay, and I'm going to change this to test and test. Okay, so there were some issues, something that we forgot to do in the code. So first of all, we need to make sure that the ID is sanitized before passing it in the query. So this is how we sanitize it. And lastly, before we submit the form, we need to make a small change in the action attribute. We need to pass the ID in the action, because if the ID is not passed, we get an error message like this. See, so that's the changes. So if we remove this test and here also, and when you click on the update button, you can see the edit functionality is ready. So that's it. Now we can move on to the delete function.